My dad's a United Methodist minister. So he was kind of switching around from church to church. We'd pretty much spend a year at each place, and then we'd go to a different place. I don't know how that contributed to my development, because I'm not sure how it would have turned out otherwise. I was definitely always the new kid in my classes, always. It wasn't until junior high school. I stayed in the same place from junior high school on. And I guess it was nice to get to know people going into high school. But before that, when I was younger, I was, you know how people talk about the fat kid in the corner? I always felt like the fat kid in the corner when I was little. I've always compared myself to the people who are a lot better than I am. Like, way better than I am. You know, I've always looked at the person who is the fastest in the group and known that even though I don't have that, like, that's what I'm reaching for. So I've never really ever felt relaxed in any kind of training situation, because I've never felt like I was on top, or that I've achieved, or that I've arrived in anything. There's always, like I said, someone better than me, so I always had to push that much harder to be anywhere in the same league. I'm proud of my lifestyle. More than anything else, I'm proud of the habits that I have in my lifestyle. I feel like I eat well. I feel like I do a pretty good job, and I'm always striving to listen to everyone around me. I'm in a really cool spot right now, which is that I get to train. I get to work on my physical aspects, and I get to work with a bunch of kids. I teach a kids Muay Thai class, so I get to be around them and see them every day, and it's really neat. They're like a sounding board. The better that I'm doing and the more positive that I am, the more that I can see it in them, the more that I contribute, the more that I can see coming back out of them, and that's a positive thing. Another reason I'm happy about the lifestyle choices is that it seems like everyone around me is getting healthier too. It's really cool. My mom, you know, she's always been really healthy. She's always done a lot of cooking and, you know, really taught us a lot about nutrition. My dad, my father and my stepmother, they recently became vegetarian, just moving in that direction. You know, one of my aunts, she lost like 40 pounds in the last year and a half, and it's cool. Like when I go on Facebook and I see everyone talking about, oh, I lost this much weight and I trained this and I didn't want to go to this workout, but I did this, and it makes me feel like I'm contributing to the positive energy that's out there in the world by being both receptive to it and putting it out there. Yeah, they are. People usually comment, but you look so nice, you look so sweet, I can't imagine you punching people. They're a little surprised, but it makes a lot of sense to me. I think that most people have a lot of anger repressed. Like my name, the Peacemaker, you know, you're not really supposed to choose your own name. Other people are supposed to give it to you. I chose that name because it's a reminder for me of what I'm out there for. Not only, you know, it's to find peace within myself. We talked about it earlier about how I feel like it's an honest thing. Fighting is honest. I'm not sitting, you know, at a desk job and like, you know, kissing some bosses, whatever, and like acting like I like all the people around me, or doing some sales job acting like I care about something that I don't. I get to be honest. I get to be like, okay, this move works, or this one doesn't. I got punched in the face? All right, I better change something up. And I really, really appreciate that. That's one of the reasons that fighting appeals to me. And I think that once people take a look at that it makes more sense. The way that I got into MMA is I was a personal trainer at a Bally Total Fitness, and at 10 o'clock I would leave, and there was this little girl at the front desk all the time. So one day I was like, why are you up here? She said, my dad runs the MMA class. I was like, we have an MMA class? What? And I went and I watched for like 10 minutes, and the coach came up to me, he said, what do you think? I was like, if I do this, can I really hit people as hard as I can? He was like, yeah. It's like, okay, I'm in. So I trained, I got a fight set up for a month later, which was exciting because, I mean, if you're going to train, you're going to spend a bunch of time doing something, then I wanted to make sure that I actually liked it. So I got a chance to fight, and I came out, it was like it was scripted for a movie. The girl came out, we did the glove touch, and then she sucker punched me right off the bat, and the whole crowd was all booing and hissing, and whenever I did anything good, like I got a reversal. I mean, it was a super non-technical fight. I'd been training for literally 1 month. So then the second round came out, and I got a knockout. We stood up, and I was punching her, and she fell straight back. And that was really exciting. The whole crowd stood up, and someone came back and they were like, hey, you want a sponsorship? We'll give you some money every month. I was like, hell yeah. So one of the things that I mean, it was really, really fun. Maybe the appeal of having everybody standing there and cheering for me, and there is something to getting attention in it. You know, it's really fun. Like, with the sports that I played, I didn't really like most people that were around me, but coaches, they were always willing to help, willing to contribute. So that was a type of relationship that I felt comfortable with. So with this whole training thing, it's like all your training partners are like coaches. You know, you're like, look, I want this from you, and I'm just going to try my very hardest, and then you get rewarded for that. And that doesn't ever happen in most other situations. You know, everyone else's agenda somehow. And so I really like that. Another thing is that I realized that if I can become very successful with the fighting, that I can have this huge crowd of people that are listening to me. And so if I think of something that's going to actually help people, then I'm going to have a forum where I can say it. So that's something that I'm working on, is coming up with a positive message that I can communicate to more people. And I feel like being a female fighter, period, that's communicating a positive message. I had to decide to be positive. I was actually a pretty bummer kid. I was pretty reticent when I was younger. I don't even remember a whole lot of stuff when I was super young, and I didn't graduate high school. I took off. I traveled for a bunch of years, did a bunch of drugs, did a bunch of partying, and then I kind of decided that I didn't like that. I didn't want that. I wanted to be positive. I wanted to do positive things for people. I learned one of the first jobs that I had when I was like 15. I remember I came home, I was like, Dad, I can make people smile just by smiling at them. And that was an epiphany for me. Like, that's huge. I mean, on the one hand, like, kids, you know, you learn how to manipulate people. Like, from the time that you're a little tiny baby, you know, you're like, Mommy, I love you. Can I have a cookie? But, you know, to realize it as an adult, like, I can make people smile. And that does things to their body. It sends toxins, it makes them a more positive person, it sends out more positive energy into the world just by smiling at them. Like, that was huge for me. And so that's something that I've tried to keep with me just at all times. I really like the fact that there's little girls who can turn on the TV and YouTube things and see women as fighters. I think that it's an awesome thing, and I think that it's great that there's so many different kinds of female fighters. You know, there's Felice Herrig, who does the like sexy thing, right? And then there's like Liz Carmouche, who's like, dude, I'm gay. And then there's like, I mean, there's everything up and down the list, right? And so to be able to go on and see like anybody can do this and anybody can be a fighter, and I think that that's an important thing, because I think that for men grow up from the time that they're little tiny kids knowing that they have to fight for themselves. They have to fight for their respect. They have to fight if someone crosses a line. They got to fight for themselves to establish their personality and their identity. They're going to have to fight for something. And women are chosen or instructed to pick your battles, right? You're gonna get more flies or something. You get more with sweet than you do with sour, right? However that saying goes. And I think that it's really important to learn that you can fight for stuff. You don't have to just be cunning. You don't have to like be two-faced about everything or pretend. You can just stand up and say, yeah, here's me. Look, this is what I want. This is what I'm fighting for. And I feel really proud of myself and all the other female fighters that are doing this, because I think that it's setting a good role model and hopefully a trend for women.